አድማጮቻችን አሁን ደግሞ የዕለቱ ዋና እንግዳችን የስዊድን ፓርላማ አባል የሆኑት ኡሌ ቱሬል ከኛ ጋር ይገኛሉ። ከሳቸው ጋር ውይይት የምናደርገው በእንግሊዝኛ ነው። እንግዲህ ይሄ በሳቸው ፍላጎት የመጣ ነው። ህዝቡ በቀጥታ ምለውን እንዲያውቅልኝ ስለምፈልግ ነው ያሉት። Hello sir.
Hello.
Let me start by saying that on behalf of the listeners of our radio all over the world, I am immensely grateful for your benevolence for letting me conduct this interview with you.
No problem at all. I'm happy to be here.
Good. Now, sir, would you be kind enough to tell our listeners who you are and what your position is in the Swedish political, social, and economic sphere? What's your position?
Yes, thanks again for having me. And my name is Olle Torell, and I'm a member of the Swedish National Parliament, and I represent the Social Democratic Party, which is the biggest party in Swedish politics. However, we are now in opposition, and I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee and act as spokesperson for international development cooperation. And in my work, in my party's work, we focus on promoting democracy, human rights, sustainable development in Sweden, of course, but also globally. We believe that Sweden needs to step up and be a strong voice in global affairs.
Sir, I understand that you have raised the dire political, economic, and social situation the Amharas in particular and the Ethiopian people in general are facing at this moment, at this very moment. Would you be kind enough to tell us what about it? What the question you raised to the foreign minister? Would you please be kind to explain it to us?
Sure. In my question to the Swedish Foreign Minister, Maria Malmer Stenergard, I highlighted reports of violence, including indiscriminate attacks on civilians, using drones, forced displacements, and the use of military force in Amhara. And I specifically asked what measures Sweden would take, both bilaterally, directly with Ethiopia, and within the European Union and the United Nations to address these human rights violations. I also raised concerns, particularly about the drone strikes and the need for accountability for crimes against humanity. And my aim is to ensure that Sweden actively supports efforts to protect human rights and make sure that humanitarian assistance is delivered to those in need.
Sir, how did you find out about all these problems? What was your source of information, sir?
As a foreign policy politician, it's important for us to keep an eye on what's going on in the world and not just report and put focus on what's going on in the media. So, of course, the conflict in Gaza and Ukraine and Syria are very important, but we also have an obligation to keep an eye on conflicts and atrocities that are taking place out of the brightest spotlight. So I use international human rights organizations like Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, United Nations reports, and regional news outlets. And we also get informed through dialogues with the Ethiopian diaspora in Sweden. And in Stockholm, there are a lot of Amhara people who are engaged in my party and other parties, and they keep us informed on what is going on. And as a legislator, I believe it's my responsibility to listen and act on this information.
Sir, what was the reply you received from the foreign minister?
Well, I received a reply that was positive. I think maybe Sweden could do even more, but the foreign minister acknowledged the seriousness of the situation and affirmed Sweden's commitment to human rights violations globally and to address those. And she spoke on Sweden's ongoing efforts within the EU and UN to demand accountability from the Ethiopian government and to press on for independent investigations on these atrocities and advocate for increased humanitarian access to these regions. And as I said, this is positive, that it's the reply was positive, and it's good that Sweden acts, but I still believe that Sweden has room for improvement. So I will keep putting focus on this issue going forward.
Sir, your party member, an MP who is a member of the Foreign Subcommittee, as well as she has raised the same question to the previous foreign minister, Alexandra Volker. Do you know about that?
Sure, absolutely. Me and Alexandra Volker work together in the Foreign Affairs Committee, and she has a lot of commitment and is very engaged in the development in Ethiopia and the Horn of Africa. And me, as a spokesperson for development aid, we work together in raising these issues, and we will continue to do so because we need to protect ethnic groups, minorities all over the world. They deserve attention and they deserve protection from what could risk being genocide. And this goes for every group in the world, no matter if it's Palestinians in Gaza or Ukrainians or Amhara in Ethiopia. It's you have the same universal human rights and right to protection. And me and Alexandra will continue working for that.
Sir, it seems that you and Her Excellency Alexandra are going to work together to alleviate the danger that's, on Amharas being devastated, killed, and genocide. You are going to work together to alleviate this problem then. Can one true that you are going to work together?
Sure, absolutely. We are both members of the same party and the same committee, and we work as a team. The whole, it's not just me and Alexandra. I mean, the whole social democratic movement and the labor movement in Sweden stands behind us in protesting against these atrocities. And the protection of civilians is center of all human rights and humanitarian law, and there are laws that regulate how governments can act towards its own people, and we will continue to put focus on this. We will continue to support efforts to hold perpetrators accountable, because we know from other conflicts that atrocities like that needs healing, and it will take many years to heal from the wounds in a society. We can look at Rwanda, for example, or the Balkans in the 90s. You need to have accountability, and you need to have reconciliation. And we will continue working for that. Even though Sweden is a small player, but I think we have an obligation to raise our voices as well.
And I don't think, sir, Sweden is a small player. Sweden's voice is so it hears so loud all over the world. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to hear about Olof Palme. His attempt to make peace in the world during the Vietnam War and everything. So Sweden has a loud voice. It's just what you guys should do is to raise your voice as usual. That's what I say. But sir, what's your next move to help alleviate the suffering of Amharas in particular and the Ethiopian people in general? What's your next move, sir?
Well, moving forward, me, Alexandra, and the rest of the party group in the parliament will continue to press the Swedish government to prioritize the situation in Ethiopia and in the region. We are concerned that Sweden's voice is not as strong as it used to be, like you said, during Palme's days and when we were in government. The current government focuses too much, we believe, on regional issues and do not raise their voice enough on global affairs. So we will continue to try to influence the government to raise their voice in this matter as well. And also we will engage with the Ethiopian diaspora in Sweden and also international organizations and other social democratic parties in the world to speak up together to amplify the voices of the victims and promote peace and reconciliation in the region.
Sir, I can say it's fantastic, and I'm really, really grateful. As I said previously, sir, I am immensely grateful for your benevolence for letting me to conduct this interview with you, and I'm very grateful once again. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show. Thanks.
And by the way, I hope to get together with you and with Alexandra in the near future when you have time, and you just choose a place where you want to meet us so that we can discuss the problems. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.